Hello, community. This is Charles with Universal Equality for Humanity. This video is about my sample website that I created, which is an umbrella for all of my social media platforms that I've created in the last 2 years. This video is an instruction guide in detail on how the website works, what kind of people can participate. This website is not a nonprofit organization yet. It is only a sample. It is a presentation to bring board members into the website, into the organization, and also to invite NGOs, non-government organizations, and nonprofits of charity organizations around the world that serve people suffering in poverty. This website will be an alternative to other charity websites like UNICEF. It's very detailed, very complex, a lot of graphs, a lot of data, a lot of charts. But most people don't understand it, especially the poor and uneducated, the people that don't have higher education. It's very complex for them to understand it. This website is going to be very simple so that the poor and the common people and the uneducated can understand it and follow it and understand what the purpose of this website is about. Now, this is the sample website that I've created so far. As you can see, it's very simple. It's not complex compared to like UNICEF website. And like I said, it has to be certified as a 501c3 nonprofit before I can start accepting donations. As I am in the process of finding board members to start up this nonprofit organization through the website, there'll be more categories added and more tabs on the home page over time. For example, in the future, there's going to be a home tab added called data collection. It'll be a huge database of graphs and charts and how poverty issues are affecting certain regions and countries around the world and also globally as a collection of database. I will try to make it simple so that the common people can understand it. And this website will only be focused on the charity organizations that are dealing with people suffering in poverty, wherever it is in the world. My biggest phrase is charity without borders. You can find charity, people with compassion that has love for the poor anywhere in any country. It doesn't matter where you live. I think you can find it. And the purpose of this website is unifying NGOs, nonprofit, non-government organizations, and nonprofits that work together with people suffering in poverty for a common cause. Try to find things in common between the charity organizations. And I want this platform to have these organizations, charities, to have better communication with one another, work together, and find long-term solutions instead of pacifying and putting a band-aid on poverty issues, which I think so many organizations do without the support or communication of others within the regions that are doing the same thing, but are called a different name, but doing the same charity work. As you can see, this platform is very simple. I don't want it complex because I want the common people, I want the public, I want the poor, I want the uneducated that don't have higher education to be a part of this website and social media platform that I've created, which I'm about to show you. If you can follow my mouse, this is where I'll be directing you. I do have a Facebook group, and this is it right here. I have a small number of people, but most of them are NGOs, organizations, charity organizations. And briefly, I'm going to read the description of what this Facebook group is about. The sole purpose for the group is to find people that do not like seeing humans suffering, division, and conflicts, but want to see peace, harmony, progress, love, kindness for all humanity. And then I share a quote from one of my favorite role models, which is behind me, Mahatma Gandhi. It says, "In the midst of death, life persists. In the midst of untruth, truth persists. In the midst of darkness, light persists." The social platform is about socializing, discussions, community, networking, nonprofit organizations, polls, meetings, and activities. The ambitions for this Facebook group, the goal is to build on ideas of common values, universal conscience. Universal conscience to me is, in simple terms, without getting scientific, because I'm not a scientist or a doctor, in basic terms, you can relate it to a child. A child will get emotional if they see their parent being abused or being killed. Now, that instinct comes from our conscience. They know as little children that seeing their parents being abused is a bad thing, and they sometimes cry about it, and they definitely get emotional about it. That's what our conscience is in basic terms. And we all have a conscience. We all are social beings. We all have emotions and feelings. We all are sensitive on how we are treated and how we should treat others. We all have that conscience. So that's where I come up with universal, because it's common among all the human race, regardless of where you are in the world. In social media to improve healthy social relationships, friendships, spiritually, economic skills for all humanity. People with no desire for competitions in terms of becoming super rich for selfish purposes, but to put it in currencies, into programs that give education to the poor. Also, help people into a trade and social skills to build on self-reliance and for those around them to get out of poverty. People that like spending time in serving, ever learning through books, schools, videos, and social media on how to make the world a better place for all humanity are invited. The invitation is people that are married, those that are single, looking to find a companion that have common values of charity and compassion for humanity are all welcome. You do not have to be religious or spiritual to join. All religions are welcomed. We all have a brain, conscience, and bleed the same color blood. Let us work together for a better place for all humanity. That's pretty much my Facebook group. You have to send an invite in order to get accepted, because it's a private group. It's not public. This is my next social platform. It's also called Universal Equality for Humanity. And I will post, Instagram will be like a promotion, short videos of property issues, news, streams that's going on with different charity organizations in current times. I have TikTok, which is another platform, same as Instagram. I will be using it as promotion for live streams, updates on news streams, things that are going on around the world concerning poverty. And Instagram and TikTok is also another way of the common people, the public, regardless of where you live in the world, regardless of what religion or culture you're from, to be able to communicate with one another on poverty issues and talk about solutions long term and not just temporary. And then I also have a YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is for the purpose of mostly long videos, detailed interviews of charity organizations around the world, and I will be interviewing leaders of those charity organizations of what they're doing, how their organization is structured, how they serve, how they distribute their money, so on and so forth. The detailed long videos of each charity organization will be about 30 minutes to an hour long each. And I will be doing more videos on these charity organizations as time goes forth. Here's the donation page. This website, registered as a 501c3 nonprofit organization, operates with two different funding distribution methods. Firstly, it provides each non-government organization, NGO, and nonprofit organization, NPOs, with a dedicated page to showcase how they are working to help people suffering in poverty. This tailored page will feature comprehensive information, including direct links to their websites and various social media platforms, such as Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, as well as contact information like emails. Visitors will also find visuals like pictures and videos and details about ongoing projects, historical data presented in monthly graphs and charts across different categories, a 5-star rating system for transparency, and a direct donation button for their charity organization. And I will show you an example of let's go to the first tab, which is Explore. These are the categories. As I discussed, the first method of distributing funds is for a dedicated page showcasing a nonprofit. And this is one individual page for a charity organization that's in Uganda. And these are the categories that they can be classified as under these categories. If you want to do a more refined search, you can go under religions. It covers the main religions of the world. Spiritual means you're a spiritual person, but you do not belong to an organized religion. The reason I don't include individual churches like Catholic, because I want the religions to work together. I want the Muslims to work together, regardless of what parts or regions that you live in, including the Christians. I want all the Christian churches to try to work together for a common cause, including the Buddhist, Hindu, and also the spiritual that don't claim to be a part of any religion. And then if you want to refine your search even more, you can go under under a country, and there's 195 countries. And I've also included Palestine, even though the UN doesn't recognize Palestine as a country, but I do, because they're a child of God too. They're human beings, and they deserve to be treated as human beings like everyone else. And it's a tragedy, the extreme poverty that they are living in at this time because of wars. Now let's look into the charity organization, SOL, which means Seeds of Love. You can see I have to put down the information, a brief description of his organization. I don't have it hyperlinked at this moment, like emails and web links, but I will in the future. The thing about these charity organizations, their page, they can structure it whatever way they want to make it look like. They tell me or someone else to structure it the way they want it presented to the world. And as you can see, there's different categories here of how they serve the poor under these categories. And there is a website that they have. This is their website. You can go to the website personally, or you can go to their donate page of their website. And then here are the charts and graphs. I've just made these as examples. These can be customized according to the leaders of the organization, of graphs that they want to be presented to the public. So anything, they can make this category, anything they want. And it will be based on a monthly chart. Over time, it will show a historical picture of how the organization is progressing or degressing. Another thing I want to share about this homepage is I have not put on there yet is when you scroll down from the top, in the middle, in the future, there will be a live stream clips of news of current events concerning poverty issues around the world. It will be live streams. This will be in the homepage in the future, but I don't have it on there yet because I'm working in the process of finding board members. I'm going to the About Us page. At Universal Equality for Humanity, we believe in creating a world where every individual has access to basic needs, basic human necessities, and opportunity for growth. And I'm going to briefly read this. This is our mission. There are over 8 billion people on Earth, each with a brain, conscience, dreams, passions, talents to contribute. Yet significant social and economic inequality persists. Billions are left behind, lacking the opportunity to reach their potential. Instead, they struggle to support themselves and families due to extreme poverty. Hundreds of governments and numerous corporations work to alleviate poverty worldwide. I do realize that. Yeah, I do see how governments and corporations are helping out. I truly do see that. But I believe more can be done. However, leadership changes throughout human history. What if they fail, cease operations, or without support? Who will provide for those suffering in poverty then? Throughout human history, through the thousands of years, there has the rise and fall of empires. And it happens today too. Like I said, that in that paragraph, there's hundreds of governments. Governments always change. They change policies when they change leadership. And sometimes governments become hostile toward other countries, which can cause poverty. So the next paragraph, the enduring human spirit, conscience, has never faded. Many individuals have established NGOs, non-government organizations, and nonprofits to assist those living in poverty. The goal is to move beyond solely relying on government and corporations, which amounts to about, 80% of all donations are either from governments or corporations, but very little is donated by the public, which is something that I want to try to change, knowing that there's 8 billion people on Earth. And I believe if more people participate, the more opportunity that we can make a difference, which provides sufficient funding. Instead, involve a broader range of people in the world to participate, as I just said. The next paragraph. This website invites the poor, uneducated, and the common people in the world who desire greater social, economic equality for all humanity. Poverty exists in most countries and is caused by a variety of complex issues. And it is very complex. One person cannot solve it. But I think that if the common people, the billions of people out there, put in their voice, I think there might be a better chance that we'll have more answers than confusion and complexity. The next paragraph. The mission is to empower non-government organizations, nonprofits, and individuals to use technology and social media platforms. By working together and communicating effectively, we can strive for a common good for humanity now and for future generations. This collaboration will help reduce poverty and strengthen unity. The next paragraph, to facilitate communication, I've created Facebook and X Twitter groups, TikTok, and Instagram, and WeChat. WeChat is a social media platform in China, and Telegram for promotions and news or live streams. YouTube channel will feature interviews with organizations that help people suffering in poverty worldwide. in detail. All right, let's go to the reason for universal equality for humanity. From a young age, I have pondered about why poverty exists alongside the wealthy. What are the root causes? As a religious and God-fearing man that knows that there is a loving supreme being watching the human race from a distance, people suffering in poverty deeply troubles me. I believe this is human-made, not caused by a loving God. You can find people in every country that has compassion for the poor, while numerous governments, NGOs, and nonprofits work tirelessly to alleviate those suffering in poverty. Billions still suffer, and wealth remains concentrated in the hands of a few. This disparity raises a fundamental question: why? Most of the wealth in the world is controlled by just a few people. 90% of the wealth of the world is only in the hands of 10% of the world's population. Why is that? The next paragraph. By visiting to Uganda, Africa, my wife's homeland, I witnessed the dedication of local NGOs, often hampered by limited resources and visibility, meaning that most of these NGOs are so poor that they don't have the resources or the money to build or to finish their projects. Like, for example, I went to this one place, charity organization, where they are building houses for orphans, but they didn't have the resources to finish building the houses. And this played out in many parts of Uganda, where they lacked the money to complete the projects in helping kids get an education and building housing and infrastructure like clean water, plumbing, and electricity, very sparse. Phone networks were very hard to connect with in rural areas where a lot of families are and where these organizations are. And if you don't have a network, a phone network, you can't communicate with the outside world. And this plays out in many countries around the world where electricity is very hindered, and these charity organizations don't have the access to reach out to the public through social media, talking to the public about the poverty issues that they're facing in their region, in their part of the world. And also another thing I noticed in Uganda is there's a lot of NGOs. Like in one region, there might be 10 different NGOs. That's what this website is going to be a part of, is trying to bridge those barriers and bring them together in better communication and better unity to work together, because they're all doing the same thing, helping those that live in poverty, suffering when it comes to the basics of necessities of life. The next paragraph. In 2023, I created a Facebook group to form a line of communication between the NGOs and the people that care about people living in poverty in the world. Through this group, I have made many close friends that are leaders serving the poor. The unwavering compassion is evident, yet everyone is struggling financially to provide on project that they are working on. Recognizing that the world is increasingly interconnected through social media, we as a global community of 8 billion people have unprecedented opportunities for communication, technology, empowering us to share ideas and work together on poverty issues like never before. I think this is a great opportunity because of technology and social media platforms that are growing around the world to communicate with one another, regardless of what religion we are, what culture or region or country we come from. We have the opportunity to communicate with one another. But poverty in many parts, in many countries, don't have this access to social media platforms to communicate to the world the issues that they're facing with the people that are suffering in poverty. Rather than focusing on divisive world politics, many compete one with another for influence, which sometimes causes conflicts and wars. I strongly believe that there are many people that are peacemakers, humble, full of compassion, to counter division, which does not solve problems, but breeds more hate in the world. I am seeking people worldwide who have compassion in their hearts and a focus on those that are suffering in poverty. Global communication is essential to lessen poverty wherever it exists. I am seeking compassion from the heart. The heart, I think, is a very important ingredient in one person's life. If you have compassion in your heart about the poor, you're willing to do whatever it takes to help people get out of poverty, regardless of the circumstance and how much effort and time you put into it. It is a passion, and I've found many people that have this compassion. And I firmly believe that there are many people out there that have compassion. All right, let's go to goals. This is the goals that I have for the website. Worldwide media networks. For the poor and uneducated to communicate on poverty issues because they are the ones experiencing it. I think it's best to work on poverty issues from the people that actually are experiencing poverty. I've experienced poverty in the past in my life, and I think people that have experienced poverty know what the issues are. They know what's not working, and I think it's best that we have these people that suffer in poverty express themselves through social media and talk about the issues instead of people or organizations that want to help the poor but never experienced it firsthand. It's totally different meeting a person that has never been in poverty that wants to help the poor compared to a person that's been poor and has suffered poverty. There's two major differences in that. And I want the poor and uneducated to express themselves in social media. Financial accountability. More people are becoming skeptical giving donations because hundreds of billions from currency or money has been spent on it, but still billions of people are seeing no benefits from it. And one reason people are not benefiting from it is because of wars. But that's only one factor that causes poverty, but it is a big one. Each NGO nonprofit will have their own page, information on their organization, links, and how to donate to them. There will be long-term goals, needs, and projects, progress or digression in charts, graphs, receipts, stats, etc. Each will be held responsible for their donations. I will make sure of it. Those in digression should be allowed to fail. Of course, that can be prevented if we work together. I don't mind charity organizations failing. If the leaders are not making a difference, then let the leadership change or let the whole charity organization fail. It's not a bad thing for them to fail. Why give money to charity organizations that do not show progression, that does not help people in those regions get out of poverty? Don't give money to charity organizations that are failing. There will be a general fund. This consists of funding, two categories of funds. This consists of funding of staff working in the nonprofit websites, distribution of supplies to struggling charity organizations that are beginners. I believe in giving leaders that have compassion in their heart a chance. All organizations have a beginning. I'm starting from the beginning. It's hard. Everyone starts at a beginning. Every company, every government, every charity organization has a story that has a beginning. And I believe in giving good leaders that are financially accountable, responsible people that are leaders within the charity organizations. I believe in giving them a chance and see where they go. And that's where the charts and graphs comes in to see if they're progressing or degressing. Let us give them a chance. Because we are all humans living on one planet, everyone should be given a God-given right to become their dreams and live up to their potential. Competition is there, but as a human family, see to it that everyone be given an opportunity to succeed for the basics, necessities. People that are born don't dream of being drug dealers or being drug addicts or alcoholics or in a gang or to become homeless or to starve to death. They don't dream of that when they are born. They have dreams, they have passions. Everyone has. But unfortunately, the environment that they are in puts them in that situation. We need to bring hope to these people that want to improve themselves. Communication is essential. This website will fail if we do not talk between countries, cultures, and religions. Let us put our differences behind us and find things in common. Centuries of divide has happened, but human conscience, love, being social, and compassion has never changed for those that are pure in heart, like children. If we do not learn how to communicate with one another and hear one another, and also suffering among the poor will continue as it has throughout history. Like I said, it is human made. Poverty is not created by a loving God. This is another goal I have. Public feedback. With 8 billion people on earth, I'm sure we can come up with some good solutions on reducing poverty around the world. Would like suggestions on how to find solutions. What is working and what is not. Open discussions on poverty issues and social media platforms for the public to use. Feedback for me is very important. And that's another category I'm going to put in later once the organization becomes certified by the government, is I'm going to show video clips, news feeds of success stories, of solutions. And I think there's going to be also in the future a tab for a workshop of how to work with people living in poverty and what organizations are doing to relieve poverty around the world. Have NGOs and nonprofits communicate with local governments and church leaders on improving communities, build relationships of trust. I do believe in government, even though I focus on NGOs and nonprofits, which are outside of the realm of governments and corporations. Governments are essential. Don't get me wrong. There are many good governments out there that are relieving poverty. For example, China. In the last 40 years ago, China was in extreme poverty. 40 years later to today, they are one of the most developed countries in the world. They have gotten most of their people out of their poverty. We should learn from them on how they got to that point. There's a thing or two to learn from them on how they got 800 million people out of poverty in a 40-year span. That's amazing. That's a success story. It should be shared. It should be talked about. And there's also other countries that are developing, that are improving themselves. So we should always share success stories. And churches. Churches are essential. It's not a bad thing to believe in a supreme being. We worship God according to our dictates, according to our traditions and our cultures. In general, churches teach us love for one another, tolerance, and compassion for the poor. Is that a bad thing? I don't think it is. We should work with church leaders. All right, let's go to policies. It's coming in the future once I get some board members. Volunteers. Millions of volunteers around the world are already making a significant difference through various service projects. Imagine the incredible impact if more individuals with available time, whether between jobs and retirement, physical limitations, with different abilities, dedicate their skills to service. This is important to me. If you're retired, if you are disabled, if you are jobless for whatever reason, if you have spare time, please contribute. Consider using it for meaningful communication and service projects. Your involvement can make the world a better place, fostering a common good for all humanity and ultimately contributing to greater peace. That's why I created social media platforms for this website, so that we can communicate with one another. We don't have to be hands-on in a charity organization in a certain region of the world. We can actually use social media platforms to share ideas on helping with poverty issues. And I will share a couple ways on how you can do that by engaging in social media platforms. See, sharing messages and raising awareness means sharing to your neighbors about this website and what we're trying to do. Share with other charity organizations in your areas about what we're trying to do to better foster communication between the different charity organizations. One of the things that I'm going to be working on in the future in this nonprofit organization, this website, is data collection. And if you have time to volunteer, collect data information in your region on different categories of what's causing poverty in your region or your area, and give that data to this organization so that we can collect it and share it on the website for the public to see. While respecting patriotism and cultural traditions, let us also remember we all live on one planet. By working together and embracing common values, we can build a better world for everyone. Your time and skills are invaluable. Make a difference today. I do respect patriotism and traditions and cultures in the world. I respect them. And they are essential because they have been going on for decades and centuries. But we need to learn to work together and find things in common to foster lasting results for future generations. Feedback. What truly sets this website apart is its direct communication through social media platforms and allowing individuals worldwide to communicate openly regardless of their location. Unlike platforms that often highlight the value of wealthy donors, we aim to amplify the experience of those directly affected by poverty. This open exchange of ideas and on-the-ground solutions for different parts of the world is our aim to understand and to reduce poverty. We are deeply committed to continuous improvement of this website, and your feedback is invaluable in this process. A dedicated team will actively review your suggestions, allowing us to adopt and enhance our effectiveness, and furthermore, to inspire and demonstrate the impact of our collective efforts. We will regularly shape success stories on the platform. This unifying effort is essential for creating meaningful and lasting advancements in human development, and we'll always respect your suggestions, and we love your feedback on how to improve and how to better serve the community suffering in poverty. Financial accountability. Recognizing the public demand for greater accountability as the distribution of charitable funds. This platform prioritizes transparency, or like showing the public everything, to ensure donations directly benefit those in need. We actively seek staff driven by compassion for the poor, valuing their dedication over personal gain. On both the homepage and individual page of listed NGOs and NPOs, nonprofit organizations, donors and sponsors will find detailed charts and graphs illustrating precisely how funds are distributed. Furthermore, to maintain the integrity of the platform, any NGO and nonprofit found misusing funds will be properly removed from the website. I will not tolerate funds being misused. And that's another thing that's important in feedback. If you find out that funds are being misused, please let us know. In any organization around the world, this can't be happening. It will damage the website, the reputation, and the integrity of those good people, the good leaders of charity organizations. While well-intentioned, simply providing free handouts can inevitably foster dependency and enable inactivity or laziness in some individuals. A more sustainable approach lies in fostering direct communication between the common people, NGOs and NPOs. Environment can build a collaborative involvement can build a stronger foundation, empowering those experiencing poverty to become more self-reliant and ultimately break the cycle of generational poverty. This is a very important. One thing I've noticed living in America in the last 5 years is that when the epidemic became worldwide and widespread in America, the government handed out trillions of dollars of free money to the public. And unfortunately, many people, when they received that free handouts, spent it not on savings, but spent it on expensive houses, expensive vehicles, on expensive vacations. And now, since the epidemic is over and they spent all their money, most of those that did that are drowning in debt. They splurged, they misused the free money that was handed out to them. I'm not saying that all people did that. A lot of people did. Unfortunately, there are some people that are poor that will misuse their funding to support their inactivity in their life and their laziness. Only a certain percentage of people do that. Not everyone that is poor does that. Most people, I have to believe, more than 50%, will use the donations to become self-reliant and to improve the situation for themselves, their families, and their neighbors. So there will be a system of accountability, of donations donated to people. We want to see results. People, the public, want to see results. Building trust with our donors and sponsors is very important. Therefore, we will ensure that NGOs and nonprofits featured on this website are certified within their countries of operation. This verification process will involve submission of necessary documentation. To provide a detailed overview of funding, our home page will feature a data collection tab, as I've talked earlier, showing all donations. This will include contributions from governments, corporations, churches, alongside those from individual donors, ensuring full public visibility. Trust is everything. To ensure the sustainability and reliability of our funding, we have a policy of not accepting donations in forms of stocks, bonds, or other alternative investments. These financial institutions carry inherent risk due to their potential for rapid fluctuations based on economic conditions. Furthermore, our primary focus is engaging with individuals who have accumulated wealth through verified means. This is very important. We'll not accept bonds, stocks, cryptocurrency, because they are very risky. And if there is a war in a country or a famine, a plague in the world, all that speculative investments will evaporate within months, and then property will explode. Investments are very risky and very short term. It can always change in a matter of months. And if we don't see improvement, progression with people living in poverty, we can't be having these fluctuations of ups and downs, of risky investments. All investments that are going to be funded to this website has to be secured financially. They have to be from companies, from governments that have actual funding, and not funding to add to their debt. If you don't add to your debt to fund charities, then don't bother, because you need to pay off your debts. If you're a government and you have major debts, don't bother with helping in this website. You need to deal with your debts. You need to learn how to balance your budgets. I'm looking for individuals, corporations, wealthy people that have secure finances to support the poor in the world, so that we can continue without interruption. in progressing and improving the poverty situation in the world. Primary measure of success is not the amount of funds we raise, but rather the quality of service we provide the NGOs and NPOs dedicated to helping those suffering in poverty worldwide. It doesn't matter to me how much money is given. As you know, hundreds of billions have been spent throughout the decades, and still billions are suffering in poverty. Has it helped? Very little it has helped. It's like a band-aid. It's a temporary fix, but it's still there. It's how we serve one another as a community, as a region, as a people in countries, how we communicate with one another, how we see one another as human beings, how we treat one another. Do we have charity toward one another? Do we have compassion for our neighbors? This is more beneficial than the amount of money that is thrown at the situation. Money does help, but how we treat one another and how we structure the organization on how we improve the situation is without price. This is pretty much my sample website. If you want to contact me, if you want to talk to me of possibly wanting to join this nonprofit organization, please contact me. And the information I've put on this website through my social media platforms to reach out to me. And if you want to, if you're an NGO or NPO, if you want to participate in this website, then please contact me and I will have communication with you. Thank you for being with me today. This website is small, but I believe it has potential because social media platforms are growing around the world, and we have a great opportunity to communicate with one another like never before, which affects God's children, and they are just as precious as anyone else. Thank you, and God bless.